Okay, my people, I'm going to say it like this. There is no reason to watch the Oscars, not ever. That's a complete an event of Hollywood stroking Hollywood. It's a bunch of sleazy, lowly people that are self righteous. And they think that every word that comes out of their mouth is some enlightened gospel that people need to follow. They're mainly limousine liberals, and these are the people that push their agenda on everybody. Meanwhile, they're actors. They're actors. A lot of them aren't even good actors, and they're limited in that scope. So, which brings me to Will Smith, right? I have said good things about Will Smith on the show, and I think that the guy is having some kind of emotional breakdown, and it really stems from his so-called open relationship that his wife has, not that he has necessarily, but she ran away with a dude who who oddly enough looks like Will Smith's former running mate, DJ Jazzy Jeff. Dude looks just like him. Maybe there's some kind of Freudian mental thing going on. You can examine that. But all I see is rich Hollywood trash, and it doesn't really matter who's who and what's what, or why they do things, or who they do things to. These are the people that live in La La Land, and their egos rule the night. They really don't care about other people and how people even function in this world. They're very self-serving people. They act like the kings and the queens. So of course, during the Oscars, Chris Rock, comedian, love Chris Rock, very awesome comedian. Even he's lost his thunder in the last several years. People do. Dave Chappelle doesn't seem to. Dave Chappelle kind of remorphed and transmuted. He's still awesome. So you know, uh, but Chris Rock. So Chris Rock is up there giving his little shtick at the Oscars. Man, I mean, if you go there and you know that he's there and you know that you're going to be subject matter, you know that anything can pretty much come out of his mouth. So he goes and picks on Will Smith's wife, there, Jada, mentions her bald head. And then, of course, Will Smith then gets up and goes on stage, and it appeared that he smacked Chris Rock, and you know, as he did it, and after he did it, he was smiling, Will Smith, and it seemed like part of the show that people kind of pointed to. But then after he sat down, he was like, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth and all that stuff, right? And and to me, it's Hollywood. Do I think it's genuine? I think that it's all just part of the show. I like to laugh at it too, like everybody else. It launched 1,000 memes in 10 minutes, but you know, whatever. So then, Chris Rock is playing it out. He did a show last night, I think, in Boston, and then he's like, "Oh, I was shocked" and all that. It just doesn't sound genuine coming from anybody. And do you really think that Will Smith, in front of all those people, would have gotten up there? I mean, if you're gonna go up and whack somebody, open handed with your fingers open, that's really not the way that should come across. And made this, if it was real, it was pretty weak. And I'm sure that it was all part of the program. The Oscars are failing. Nobody wants to watch it. No, well, why would you? The movies these days are horrible. These actors are horrible. You only have the same ones. There's only a handful to choose from, and they're not really the greatest creme de la creme, we'll say, in the art community when it comes to actors. In Hollywood, it doesn't demand a lot from these actors. Plus, look at Hollywood. Look at all the sex crimes, drug crimes, pedophile rings. What happened to the pedophile ring that was going to be exposed? What happened to all these things that were supposed to happen? I mean, that's Hollywood. And these people get self-righteous where they gotta, make sure you live your life how they see fit. That's not the essence of freedom. They're entertainers. That's all. That's all. Oh, you're a musician. You're an entertainer. That's great. love what you do, but that's all. It doesn't make you more important than the teacher or the guy picking up the garbage outside. These are all very important jobs in our world, in our society. Some people want to go become entertainers, and they do, and very few get to the point where Will Smith is. So I just look at them as Hollywood cheddar. They're just a bunch of cheddar heads, and there's just really no reason to talk about them other when they do stupid things and or funny things. So, but of course, it has launched thousands of memes, and people talked about it. People got buzzing about it. In a week, you wouldn't even know about it anymore. You wouldn't even think about it. And Will Smith is really Hollywood's only non-threatening black guy that they can go to put in all these movies. That's why they put him in all these movies. And there's a limited selection of black men in Hollywood. It's interesting that nobody ever brings that up, and I think it's an important thing. And as society is pushing towards some kind of equality, as they say, you should have more and more actors to choose from of all different types. So that's something that should be. I mean, it was actually a few years ago where Will and Jada Smith boycotted the Oscars because they didn't have any black actors nominated. And you think, how could you not? With all these movies out and all this stuff out, how could you not? Even back then, what movie was out? That was that Star Wars with Samuel Jackson. He didn't deserve an Oscar for that. Come on, man. He didn't. You know why? Because he skated out of his normal personality. I don't like that stuff. If you Samuel Jackson, I expect the F word, and not just one. I expect a string of them, man. He could have been that Star Wars. May the F and Force be with you, and then I'd be like, yeah. It brings real reality. He's the foul mouthed Jedi. I expected that. And then when they roam away from that and they make it into something else, makes me feel like a lesser of a human being. When they do it. Makes me feel devalued as a watcher, as somebody who is interested in what they're doing. So I will say it like this: that's the world we're in. It's the world we're in, and nobody really has an understanding of that except the people who are fighting it every day, the people who are out there dredging through while these guys are slapping each other. You'll have all kinds of mayhem going on. And I don't know. So apparently, when Will Smith and Jada boycotted the Oscars, when they weren't invited, by the way, and they didn't have anything going on. She does some podcasts, so she's not really at the level of success that her husband is. So they boycotted because there was no black people and whatever, and took that stand. So Chris Rock went on and said, Will Smith and Jada boycotting the Oscars is like Chris Rock boycotting Rihanna's panties. And he wasn't invited. It doesn't matter. But I see her with this rapper dude. Man, does he look like a young DJ Jazzy Jeff? He's got that going on. That's who Will Smith used to chill with back in the day, and that basically started his career. August Alsina, 29, and she's 50. 50. 29 and 50, old enough to be his mama. And look at her melting in his arms, all smiles. There's a picture of her, Will Smith, and she looks like she doesn't want to be there. So, marriages go bad sometimes. Things happen, and people drift apart. And Will Smith, well, see, but men, this is what men. Men love women. Women love what men can do for them. It's a different type of feeling and thing and emotion. So when a man loves a woman and they lose that woman or they drift away or she goes and has a romp with some guy who looked like DJ Jazzy Jeff, and she was very enthusiastic about it. She was very vocal about it in her podcast that she does, you know. And of course, it's going to make the guy crazy, and it's going to surface in weird ways. He was an emotional wreck. So, I mean, I think part of that thing was for real, and part of it was pre-planned. I think that there was a thing going on, but he looked like a little kid, Will Smith, like being angry. He insulted his mom in the playground, but it's Hollywood. I know they want ratings. These people are willing to do anything to get them. So whatever, man. Whatever. I think they all need therapy. Problem. Either way. Either way. So anyway, I see all this thing about Disney World, Disneyland, Disney World, Disney Universe, right? And they're like boasting about pushing gender theory. You know, it's weird for an amusement park and a maker of kids movies, basically, to talk about gender or sexual anything. It's weird to talk to little kids about sex to begin with. You're the parents and they have questions. It's one thing, but it's weird for especially complete strangers to approach a kid and start talking to them about sex. But I have no problem with people being themselves. Whatever you are is what you are. I have a lot of friends who identify as gay, lesbian, all kinds of stuff. Many of them, most of them, I'd say probably almost nearly all of them, have been fighting against the homosexual stereotypes that are out there, just like anybody else and anything else that has been stereotyped. So now Disney wants to insert gay and transgender characters into their shows, but not make the show about gay or transgender. So how exactly do you do that unless you out them as being gay or transgender, or they you make them wear that on their sleeve, or you give them a series of stereotypes that people can identify. You see, it's not so easy doing something like that without putting a label on it. And how are little children supposed to interpret these things? And are they? Oh, should they? Because it's none of Disney's business to push that on people and present that. Because they are not the medical community, they are not the scholastic community. They're a private corporation, a huge private corporation. So I saw them giggles, little shits and giggles about it today. This woman talking about how they're going to do this and do that and whatever. You know, Gay people don't want that. They want their own identity, but not be labeled or jump, lumped together, stereotyped. You know what I mean? So they're going the wrong direction, and people, people are going to do it. They're not going to go. They're not going to check out their shows. They're not going to do any of that, and then they'll just go. They'll go into a different direction away from that type of programming. So, and then there's a movement inside of Disney that's against that, of gays and lesbians. They're very upset at what Disney's doing, because these people are fighting against these stereotypes. And then here they come along with just putting characters out there that they identify as gay. I mean, isn't that? I mean, think about it. These people are not, but they're putting characters out there that are flamboyant in some way or identifiably stereotyped, and then they're saying that it's okay that they're doing this. I mean, that's a terrible thing what they're doing. It's a terrible thing. It's an insult, I think, probably to everybody out there who is gay, lesbian, or whatever. Whatever you identify as. If Disney's representing you, come on, man. So, but yeah, and then of course, you got Governor Ron DeSantis. He stands up. He's standing. This dude, obviously this guy's got overtones of presidency inside of him that he wants to go in that direction himself. So he's the governor of Florida, and he's trying to shut Disney down over the stuff. And hey, he says it should be up to the parents. I mean, that's health class. I think it was seventh grade. That's when you start. And I also worked for the nurse, seventh, eighth, and ninth grade, junior high as we called it, Mrs. Storch. She was the, I don't know. She was very interesting lady, smoking hot. I think a lot of guys. When I got in there to help, two of my friends went in there to help also. So we kind of populated the space of nurses helpers, and every kid when she'd walk down the hall, because she always wore these high heels. This is my pig moment. You have to tune away if you don't want to hear it. So she always wore these nice high heels, man. Spectator pumps, I think they call them. And she'd walk down the hall, clip clap, clip clap, clip clap, clip clap, and then you would hear that out in the hall, and every kid would be watching the doorway, like waiting for this parade to go by of Mrs. Torch walking down the hall, because you knew it was her. You know what I mean? But she was super cool. I learned a lot from her about whatever. I don't know. I can't remember. I'm sure I learned something. My job was to go to the classrooms with the wooden pass and bring the kids down to the nurse's office, man. So, yep, yep. All right. So back to Disney. People learn their health in school. They learn their health from their parents and their community. But not from Disney. It's none of their damn business. And they want to rewrite all these characters now. Like, look at Harry Potter, man. They're trying to make all these characters like gay or transsexual or whatever. They said Dumbledore was gay. Dumbledore, and the first Dumbledore was what the hell is that guy's name? Michael Caine, right? No, I could never remember the freaking dude's name, man. I hate that. I have a mental block of Dumbledore. Richard freaking Harris was the first Dumbledore. Richard Harris, I don't even know who the hell the second was. Richard Harris was Dumbledore. If you know Harry Potter, you know those first two movies, that he encompassed a wizard. You know, the other dude was like the one who like rummages through the trash, trap a wizard. Like you go out to the dumpster and then here he is rummaging through the trash. It's like looking for bottles and cans. Like, listen, dude, listen, Dumbledore, we got nothing for you here. But that's the difference, right? All right. They got a lot of problems. They're trying to make that guy gay, and Professor Snape, I could see, you know what I mean? And he's passed away, that dude. So I remember Voldemort killed him. He's gone. He can't protest, But I mean, why bother? And do you really think that gay people want that type of thing? To you rename characters or sexualize characters or regender characters or whatever to appease them, or you just write new characters up that. I mean, what why do people have to know that you're gay? How's that? And I kind of feel like your business is your business, and I still believe in privacy in this world. I know that gay people have fought for a lot of things, have been beaten up, killed, and all kinds of stuff because the people are narrow-minded. They don't understand it, whatever. There's nothing for people to understand because it's not their life. It's not the life that they're living. That's these people. It's how they feel, and that's the direction that they want to go in. So that's fine as long as you don't hurt anybody. Everything's beautiful, you know. But it's not like that, because then you have gay clubs where you have shooters go in there and shoot the place up, like that one in Florida, even though that guy used to go there and hook up with other dudes. So there's a whole thing going on, and they're targets. The police are now targets, if you can believe that. So we need to protect our community, and we need to educate people. And also, it's more about making people not feel weird or alienated when there are people around, who identify as whatever. And I really mean that, because for a long time, you couldn't say the word gay without, boys cracking up. Oh, or these guys calling each other gay in school and that type of thing. And it was a derogatory term, and I think that you have to let go of those things. Used to mean happy. Imagine that. But let people be. Who cares what people are? I mean, you have a new SCOTUS coming in that doesn't know what men or women are, because she's not a biologist. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. This guy tried to carjack you. This person tried to carjack you. Were they male or female? I don't know. I'm not a biologist. Okay, that's like a stupid answer. She was trying to ditch people's hardball questions. She didn't have it even, not even as 1% as bad as that dude Kavanaugh. Or a whole host of them that they just made it so. I mean, like what they alleged against. Well, the alleged guy was a rapist. Yeah. Then that Doctor Ford said, "Well, I don't know. I can't remember what house it was, and I can't remember who it was, and I can't remember but and who was there." And then she later said that she would have said anything to make it so he lost because he's a conservative, blah 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 blah, and that person should have gone to jail. She perjured Congress, perjured the court, perjured that proceeding. Just to say, "Oh, I don't know." I mean, anybody can do that, go in there and have no recollection, but except the face. I remember the guy. Really, I don't know. That's how screwball this world is. The world is so screwball. You have large mega media companies deciding what they should insert without even thinking of how or what you know to insert whatever. Chris Rock getting a lot of condolences, sympathy anyway. After the slap, he went to a party. Who wants to be that guy? I'm really sorry, man, that guy did that to you. He bitch slapped you right on TV. He bitch slapped you on the Oscars. Everybody's going to talk about that for 100 years. Sorry that happened to you. The Rock is sitting there like, he wouldn't have done that to The Rock. A lot of dudes Will Smith wouldn't have ran up on. But I still think it was all BS, man. So here's an interesting story about a lady whose husband was in demand. See, cell phones, texting, all that has made people in demand 24/7. That someone gives you a text, they expect to get back right away. Like, you drop everything and you got to do this. And if you don't, they get really pissed, especially if they're like a significant other or a significant other that doesn't really have a level of patience. Maybe a level of patience of a 12-year-old or something, right? Which is leads me to this person, you know. So she says she raged when her husband ignored her texts when he was on a boys' trip, but he was dead. So there you go. It's very difficult, I think, for dead people to send texts, man. It's not that I haven't heard that before. I just think it's difficult. So, she's a young widow, has admitted that she was enraged at her husband when he failed to reply to her text messages, only to later learn that he had died in a tragic accident. Bonnie Caldwell, 26 years old, took to TikTok to share her story, of course, earlier this month with her now viral video gamers garners millions of views. So she got all the attention that she wanted because of her dead husband. Oh my God, he was dead, but I was texting him. Where are you, you bastard? Mm. The New Zealander showcased her morbid sense of humor in the clip, which featured the caption, "Me getting shitty. My husband was on a boys' trip and wasn't replying to me." So the dude is dead. She knows he's dead. It just happened. She's on TikTok with her morbid sense of humor that her husband is dead, and she's laughing at it. You see? You see? You see? That's the problem right there, I think. Caldwell was seen sporting an annoyed expression in the video before it suddenly cut to a photo of her husband with the words, "He was dead." In a follow up video, the widow explained how her husband, Matt Caldwell, 25 years old, tragically passed away on August 8th, 2021, while an overnight trip with friends in a nearby, on a trip with friends, nearby city. Matt and his pals traveled to the city to watch a rugby game, with Caldwell deciding to stay home on her own. She last spoke to Matt over the phone of the night that he went away before sending him several texts to follow morning saying, I love you and I can't wait to see you. Hmm. I don't know, man. It sounds a little fishy. I'd be asking a lot of questions if I was the authorities there. So uh, he didn't reply, which I thought was a bit weird of him. The widow told her TikTok followers, but I was also like, he's probably just hungover. This looks pretty good. It's kind of cute. This poor sap. However, several hours went by, and Caldwell started to worry, saying that she knew her husband should be on his way home, and he had to check out of his hotel room at 10 a.m. Ugh. Early checkout. I started to realize something was really wrong, she explained. A couple more hours went past, and I got a text from Matt's brother to come over to the house right away. And like, I flew out the door. When she arrived at her brother in law's home, there were police at the residence who informed her that Matt had passed away. Ouch. So, what'd you do? Jump on TikTok? Caldwell explained that her young husband had died after tragically falling down an embankment located near his hotel. He didn't realize on the edge of the embankment it just dropped straight down and misjudged it. So he fell off of a sharp embankment right by the hotel. Interesting. She went on to say that Matt had died on impact, that the investigators believed that he was distracted by his phone. He was distracted by his phone, and it was found upward near his body with the video still playing. It's probably distracted us folks because she's on TikTok talking crap about him, and he ended up mysteriously falling. Maybe the guy jumped. You ever think that he committed suicide to get away from that type of thing? You know, how many dudes commit suicide? A lot. You know, a lot more men than women commit suicide in the United States. Nobody ever addresses those issues. You know what I mean? It was a really horrific freak accident that none of us could have really prevented. Really. She added that she and her late husband shared a dark sense of humor, which had been a coping mechanism for her in the 8 months since his death. So she's laughing it up. What's to laugh about? Viewers flooded the comments section of the clip, sending their condolences. One female follower even added some dark humor of her own, coping to make the widow chuckle. Sorry for your loss, the follower wrote, but I still can't forgive him for ghosting you. Ha ha ha. Nice. Nice to have the psychopath. How do you know the guy died by accident, man? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And the one was it with the one time that she doesn't go. There's something going on there. Something my mind tells me there's something going on there. So anyway, I want to talk about Eric Adams because I've been talking about Eric Adams, which is the new mayor of New York City, and I'm starting to see how the guy genuinely cares about New York City, which is amazing compared to the last moron who was in there, de Blasio, who really, truly ran the city into the ground. And the Democrats who pulled his chain did nothing about it while they watched it burn. But now these very same people want Eric Adams to straighten everything out within like 2 weeks, and then he's on a journey, he himself, right? Eric Adams says New York City has become a laughing stock as crime surges. Mayor Eric Adams said Sunday that the Big Apple has become a laughing stock as it grapples with surging crime and homelessness, and claimed that he's the wartime general who can fix it. You see, I like that. He's taken it upon himself. I'm the person that can fix it, not the political sidestep crapola that they normally do of I have heard you and I understand. I mean, like the stuff that they say to you is not really an answer ever. So, all right, let's see. His honor pointed to separate shootings last week that injured a 7 and 3-year-old as he decreed a wild gun violence, and he's been trying to tame and stop it. He's not okay to leave a daycare center. He says it's just not okay to leave a daycare center with your baby and then hear gunshots, or walk across Kings Highway with your 7-year-old and hear gunshots. Adams said at the annual NYPD Holy Name Society communion mass and breakfast at the Midtown Hilton. Sounds pretty muckety muck, man. It's a Hilton. I know that Hilton. I think it's only 42nd, 43rd, something like that. 43rd. Referring to the pair of Brooklyn shootings just recently. Anything goes in the city of New York. He said the most important city on the globe has become the laughing stock of the globe, and the dysfunctionality of our city has cascaded throughout the entire country. And the audacity that someone comes along and says, I want to be your mayor, and simply says, follow the rules, follow the rules. Okay. It's called swiping a Metro card. If you don't have enough to pay the fare, there's a process that you can get help that you deserve, he continued. See, he always goes back to the transit because he was a transit cop for a lot of years. So he knows this is what's going on under the city, basically, you know? He said, or if you go into a drugstore, do what my neighbor does, pay for what you want. Homeless vagrants have flooded city subway stations and streets in recent months. I don't know about months. Yeah, we're talking about years and years and years and years. You know, you got to go back maybe to Giuliani or something when he cleaned up, sort of cleaned up the city. You know what I mean? So dozens of random attacks on people who take the subway and tourists alike, some fatal. Last week, the Post reported that 2,500 sorely needed units for mentally ill homeless New Yorkers have been left vacant due to bureaucracy, even as more cops have been sent into the transit system to reel them in. So, yeah, it's catch and release, you know. Adams, retired NYPD captain who sources said is weighing using drones to fight crime, which is stupid, and rallied around 500 cops. Drones to fight crime, unless they're going to shoot out some pepper spray or gunshot or a net, is useless. Useless. You know, then you just have a piece of equipment floating around up there. These guys will shoot it out of the sky for laughs. You know, don't let anyone break your spirit. Tell you what New Yorkers don't love drones. Really, yeah, bad idea, dude. Let's see. Everywhere I go, they say protect our police, ignore the noise, ignore Instagram, social media, Facebook, ignore all that because the people of the city are watching, he said. Yeah, they're watching on Facebook and Instagram. The people of their city want their city back. In a bizarre comparison, he likened the state of the city to a high school science experiment where a frog is placed in water that is slowly brought to a boil and remains in water until it dies. Also happens, disgustingly enough, in Japanese restaurants. Let let's acknowledge that the heat is being turned up on the frog. He said, "We want to turn it down so we don't watch our city boil to death." This guy's got some frog trauma in his life at some point. Adams told the NYPD audience that he will do his best to boost morale. Yeah, put the criminals in jail. You want to boost people's morale and make the city safe. You know, don't just do catch and release. And then at the same time, keep in mind he's got a district attorney who doesn't believe in any of this stuff. So you can have the mayor say all these great things, but when the DA is just letting people go who are hardcore criminals, even for sex crimes, for hardcore assaults and things like that, you know, you have a city that's on fire, and this guy can say all these things, but until you fix that, that's a huge leaky pipe, man, that you have to fix because that's part of the system, you know. So, but he says he's a wartime general, so he better get to it, man. He better get to it. I like it though because I don't think it's just lip service. You know, maybe it is, but I actually think that the guy. I mean, it's March, and he hasn't had a nervous breakdown yet that I know of. You know, like within 3 months of Obama's administration when he became president, he was visibly different. And I believe that he had a nervous breakdown, and people did talk about that after he wasn't president anymore in certain circles, that he did suffer a nervous breakdown. Then he listened to all kinds of people that he shouldn't have listened to. It became us against them. Where he was against America. I mean, denouncing our government and what we do, and capitalism and all the things that he did. That wasn't the way to run a country. But at least this guy's positive. There's a lot of I can't even say. Are there any politicians that you guys can even say that are positive like this, and say I have a can-do attitude? DeSantis, but he's a wacko. He's a freak, man. I mean, he appointed the head of his DOH doesn't believe in COVID-19 or vaccines. And who does that help? You know, COVID's on the rise again. It's coming back with a vengeance. The Democrats cut all of the money out of COVID-19 funding. No more vaccinations for people. No more free tests or testing. You know what? Everything they're doing is only going to help the virus. It's going to help it replicate and help it do its business. And while it's doing that, it's going to keep mutating and going in that direction. They don't. This is the same government that threw Trump under the bus for COVID-19, that he wasn't doing enough and all this other stuff. The vaccines were because of him. And then of course, yeah, he said some stupid things. If you listen to my show, I'm no huge fan of Trump, that's for sure. But I'm definitely not a fan of I'm not a fan of any of them. I think that they're all pretty much the same. Trump was the Joker in the deck. That was pretty much that. And it tilted the system. Now the system has tilted back to its traditional bureaucracy. Come on, look at all the crap with Hunter Biden, right? you know the millions that he had taken in from other countries, and he's just this sleazebag crackhead hanging out in strip joints, getting strippers pregnant while he was married. All that's that guy. And for the most part, apples don't fall far from the tree. And Biden's got some touchy feely issues with people of all ages, and the things that he does. You can't say that on a Facebook without getting banned. These days, people put pictures up of Biden sniffing these kids, not even with any kind of caption. These pictures get banned. In fact, Facebook fact checks everyone now, and like basically everything that they say. It's you have this thing hovering over you. They're just too big, too powerful, and people just like using the app. But it's become very political and become very controlling and invasion of privacy. Facebook has gone directions it shouldn't go if it's just going to present itself as a social media app. So so Adams gets slammed when he tells black people that they need to save their own streets. So he said, and this is why I let I think I got COVID, man. Who knows? This is why I like the guy. He said, I may not be the church going type, but I certainly know a sermon when I hear one. And Adams has been doing an awful lot of sermonizing since assuming the office December 31st, right? That's what this guy's writing anyway. Let me jump forward, and this guy sucks. Right. Few topics are more taboo with white politicians, even and this is terrible against the white black thing. Even white Politico with a black wife and black children like Bill de Blasio, then asking African Americans for a bit of self reflection. But it's actually an everyday occurrence among black folks themselves, particularly in the African American church, whose lofty oratory style Adams often invokes when facing the press. Take the aftermath of a fatal double shooting of police officers, Jason Rivera and Wilbert Mora, in late January in Harlem, flanked by a mostly African American supporting cast, including New York's first ever female police commissioner, Kitchent Sewell. Adams' press conference offered a stark rebuke to police defunding progressives who've dominated law enforcement conversations since the death of George Floyd. So this guy understands you don't have safer streets with less cops on the streets, and those cops need to be trained, more trained, better trained to deal with certain situations and not be all trigger happy either, right? So Adams issued a call to action that was clearly intended as a rallying cry for his own community who bear the brunt of the city's surge in gun violence. We must stand united against these killers, said Adams. This is the problem. The media likes to use race to race bait and hate bait, but they don't care how people are living their lives. I was watching this dude, a professor from Purdue, right? And they were talking about the Ukrainian war, what's going on now with Putin and Ukraine. So he said, well, this is the first time that people are really seeing oppression, the younger generation, and this type of stuff doesn't happen. And this is a professor at Purdue saying this. Is there not oppression in the sub-Sahara in African nations when they're at war every day, all the time? That in the last 20 years they estimated they lost over 5 million children because of these wars. And what about these Arab countries? You think that they're free? You think that there's no oppression going on there? So when you talk about war, you have to think that so many countries are at war all the time. But if they don't have anything, they have any oil, they don't have any riches, they don't have any reason to go in there to stop it, you don't hear about it. The media ignores it, right? There are still being people being sold as slaves in Africa and many countries in Africa. The media report on that. Oh, you might hear a blurb about it somewhere, somehow, maybe a one liner, but you don't see ABC, CBS, NBC, or even the crapper or the crap channels, CNN or Fox. Any of those guys delve into it because they don't care. So don't tell me that people don't suffer every day because they certainly do. And there's nothing new under the sun, you know. It's about the evil that people do. That's it. And people can do anything they want to do to you if they have enough power. Putin's one guy, one dude, supported by a whole bunch of other people, but it's through fear and intimidation, right? But do you really have a say? Do you even have a say in your own life? So at least this guy, Mayor Adams, gets it. I support the guy. I won't go to the city, but I support him, you know? So I think that I think he's got a long road ahead of him, man. But you can't chastise somebody and like the black white thing. What if it was Mel Gibson that went up on stage and slapped Chris Rock? Oh my God, there'd be an outcry, especially Mel Gibson because he's such a like a Jew hater, man. The guy was outed hating on Jews. The time he got pulled over, and that he had like a tirade against Jewish people for whatever reason that he blames Jewish people for. And you've got people like that out there. And then you know what? He was shunned in Hollywood for a good decade, and they let him back in again. So it wasn't all that great anyway. What name some movie that Mel Gibson was in that was like really awe-inspiring or something like that? It's just these crap movies. I can watch some of this stuff some of the time. I was watching, I have this movie on DVD. It's the only movie I have that I've only watched once. Interstellar, right? Matthew McConaughey, which I like. I like him a lot. I think he's a great actor. And then the movie's about the Earth dying. The only thing left is corn. Whatever. I like corn, and corn goes a long way. If you got corn, you got some eggs, you got some food, man. You can make some tortillas. You can do all kinds of stuff with corn. Might make whiskey with corn. So I think you're set, man. But that was the movie. This guy goes into space and he's going to approach a black hole and whatever, and they gotta, the further he goes, the more his kid on the planet ages, and it became like a huge drama fest between this guy and his daughter, who was stuck on Earth. And you know, I'm not going to get into it because it's just, it's not even good to have on in the background, you know, and I don't know. It's just a very, like how they go. I don't know if you ever seen it. They go into like a black hole, and it like it just elongates time or stretches things. That's how I felt about the movie. I felt like the movie was like a black hole and just freaking stretched out for not just hours but days, weeks, and months and years. I felt like I aged like while I was watching this movie and just waiting for something interesting to happen. Getting all hungry for corn as I'm watching watching it. That's my life, you know. So Eric Adams, I'm with you. Corn is with you, and whiskey is also with you. I think that. Then I see the story about Luann D. Lesseps, and the only reason why I don't even know who she is, but I like the story because she got kicked out of a gay piano bar, and it must be pretty hard. I've been to those places, man. I used to be an entertainment writer, and a lot of the shows I'd have to entertain were in all kinds of places. So you know, I never offended anybody and got kicked out of a gay piano bar. But this chick's on TV. She's another one that thinks who the hell she is. She's one of those real housewives. That's why I don't know who the hell she is. She's just older and leathered, older, leathered. Luann D. Lesseps drunkenly took over the mic, especially a drunken, egotistical type. Ugh, I can't stand that, really. So she took over the mic at a gay piano bar, belting out tunes and telling booing patrons F you before she was eventually kicked out, though she denies that she was given the boot. Get out. That's my stereotypical. You want my non-stereotypical? Get out. Get out. Get out, real housewife. I command you. Of the countess, who has publicly battled with sobriety, not very not very well. A source exclusively tells Page Six she's monopolized the piano, but that isn't how it works. You sing one song and move on. That's the dude. She monopolized the piano, but that is not how it works. You sing one song and you move on. I like saying it like that better. It's more fun. All right. The 56-year-old reality star who performs her own Countess Cabaret show already seemed sozzled when she showed up at the piano bar in the townhouse in Manhattan on Wednesday night. Witnesses say, you got to be witness to that. There's people asking questions, what happened? Well, she just got up there and wouldn't shut up. So we told her to leave. She said, F you to us. She grabbed the mic and simply wouldn't stop, one source said. See? Luann thought she was doing her act. She tried to sing her own song, Money Can't Buy You Class, but they didn't know it. And they know standards. Okay, whatever. The piano player was like, I don't know the song. And she responded, it's a hit. It's, how could you not know my song? Do you know who I am? The critically trashed song apparently sold 19,000 digital copies. How much did that get you? Not even, what is it, 50 cents a piece, 25 cents a piece. And then you got to give all kinds of money to everybody else. You might get a penny a piece for them if you're lucky. But it's a hit. 19,000 is not a hit. A million's a hit. You sell a million records, you're in Snoop Dogg territory. That's a hit. 19,000? Yeah, all right. It's probably that she bought it all herself. Gave him his Christmas gifts. Of her 2010 auto-tuned debut, single that includes lines like "Elegance is learned" and "Snarky source sniffs." It's not a Cole Porter standard. I'm lost in all this, man. I don't know who the hell she is and what she does. I just like the fact that these guys kicked her ass out of a piano bar. Undeterred, liquored up D. Lesseps kept belting out jumbled versions of songs, which were so intolerable that the crowd began booing her. Oh my God. Right in front of a stunned drag queen, including Tiffany Ann Coke, Shiny Penny, Lauren Ordair, and Chandelier. I assume they're drag queens. Why does she even want to hang out in a bar? I mean, that's why these guys get pissed off when people like that go there. It's more of a situation where you know they don't want women like this in that bar. Okay, so they booed her, and things took a turn for the worse when Luann began yelling at the gays. How do you know they're all gay? No, they weren't gay. How about yelling at the crowd? See who wrote this, man? They're against gays. Ha ha. You don't know me. I'm a cabaret star, adds one source. She should have told them she was a transsexual and they would have shut up, man. She'd be like, "You're only hating me because I'm transsexual." They'll be like, "Oh my God, it was almost hard to tell." I thought so, but I didn't want to say it. You don't think you think you're better than me, gays? Yes, we are. Get out of here. Brr. Video taken by a patron. Of course, everybody's got a video camera in their hand these days, and a considerably crude, uncountess like move, snarling at the crowd, F you, while on the mic singing. That's so nice. The tipster tells us that Lesseps yelled at other patrons on the microphone and then was thrown out for getting aggressive with the bar's customers. So why isn't she being brought up on charges of something harassing these people, man? A guy would. If that was a dude in there telling gay guys to F off, well, he'd get his ass kicked, you know? A probably very hungover Lesseps explained to Page Six on Thursday that she was in rehearsals all day yesterday for her upcoming cabaret show. And then she went to dinner with the Broadway producers, her husband, and whoever else that he roped into producing her show. We were in a celebratory mood by drinking champagne. Really? I don't know. Let's see. Anything else interesting to this stupid story? Uh, so, I mean, that's the thing, the standard male, female, and who's willing to take what off people. And You know, so what? She's some cabaret this, and I don't know who the hell she is. I really don't care who she is or what she does. But then there she is out there, and if that was you or me in that bar saying anything, and I don't outdo my welcome. I'm doing some karaoke, man. People are into it. I'm like, call me the breeze, baby. I keep rolling down the road. See, and people are like, yeehaw! But that's not a gay bar with a gay piano bar. Gay piano bar, you gotta do like, do you really wanna hurt me? Do you really wanna make me cry? That's the deal, you know, or some of that other, you know. What's what? I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt. So sexy it hurts. That's what you do. You gotta know your crowd. You gotta know who you're playing to, man. I know what I'm talking about. You gotta know. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you guys with those thoughts. Equality for all. Don't stereotype people and make them stand out like that. Disney World. What the hell's wrong with you? If you want to just let people be, let people be, let people be what they are instead of judging them all the time or telling them what to be, even worse. So, and stay out of gay piano bars if you're an obnoxious asshole, because people don't need that in any bar, anywhere, anytime, any place, So, anyway, I'm going to end the show on that high note. Do you really want to make me cry? I'll see you guys next week on the Red Pill News. Bye.